They called him a genius, a mystic, a madman. But Nikola Tesla was something much more dangerous. He was awakened. The kind of awakened that doesn't just invent machines, but sees through the illusion of reality itself. He didn't just understand electricity, he understood the blueprint behind existence. Not as a philosopher, but as a scientist tuned to frequencies most people couldn't even sense. And maybe that's why his name almost disappeared from history. We remember Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, even Henry Ford. But for decades, Tesla was buried under dust, footnotes, and forgotten patents. And yet, he was the one whose mind cracked the code of alternating current, wireless energy, radio, and modern civilization as we know it. So ask yourself, why would the greatest inventor of the modern age be almost erased from the story? Maybe because what Tesla really discovered wasn't just about powering cities. It was about powering human beings. He once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." People love to quote this. It's printed on posters, used in captions, thrown into spiritual memes. But here's the truth most people miss. That wasn't a metaphor. Tesla meant it literally. To him, frequency wasn't a poetic idea, it was the invisible structure of everything. And he wasn't talking about New Age affirmations or wishful thinking. He believed that reality itself was built on vibrational code, a living language of energy. And if you understood that language, you could shape the world around you. You could manifest, but not through force, through resonance. Tesla's entire worldview was based on the idea that everything, thought, matter, emotion, even time, is just energy vibrating at different speeds. The faster the vibration, the less dense it becomes. The slower the vibration, the more real and solid it appears. But it's all energy. It's all frequency. And that includes you. Your body, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they're all part of an electromagnetic field you carry with you every second of every day. Tesla understood that this field isn't just passive. It's a transmitter and a receiver. He believed the human brain was like a tuning device, like a radio, designed to pick up signals from the greater field of consciousness that surrounds us. Just like you don't receive jazz music on a heavy metal station, you don't receive abundance, love, clarity, or healing if your inner frequency is tuned to lack, fear, or survival. Tesla didn't use terms like manifestation the way we do today, but he understood the concept at its core. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are in resonance with. Want money? Then your inner world must hold the frequency of wealth. Not just in thoughts, but in belief, emotion, identity, nervous system, and action. Otherwise it's just noise. It's like trying to water a garden with a leaking hose. You might be doing the right actions, but the signal is scattered. The results are unpredictable. The field isn't receiving a clear message. This is what Tesla meant. That manifestation isn't about control, it's about coherence. And coherence begins inside. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Tesla didn't stumble into these ideas by accident. He lived them. His life was one of deep devotion, not just to science but to purity of mind and body. He practiced celibacy. He ate little. He meditated often. He spent hours in silence and solitude, sometimes walking 10 miles a day to process downloads and tune himself into what he called the core of the universe. He believed this core was a field of divine intelligence, a place where all knowledge, all invention already exists. He once said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists." Think about that. A man who invented wireless energy and predicted smartphones over 100 years ago admitted that his ideas weren't coming from him, but through him. He didn't consider himself the source, he was the antenna. So what does that say about us? About you? Could it be that ideas, abundance, love, peace, don't originate from the mind but from something deeper? That maybe our true task isn't to make things happen, but to become clear enough to receive them? Tesla believed that genius wasn't about intelligence. It was about alignment. And when you're aligned with the field, when your internal frequency matches the higher states of possibility, reality bends. Here's where the conversation begins to challenge what we've been taught. Most of us are raised to believe that reality is solid, that it's built from matter, that things are fixed unless we do something to change them. But Tesla and quantum physics suggest something radically different. The observer effect in quantum mechanics proves that particles exist in a state of possibility until they're observed. The act of observation itself collapses the field into a specific reality. In simple terms, your attention creates the outcome. Tesla didn't have access to the quantum lab language we use today, but he intuited the truth. He spoke of thought as a force, not a metaphorical force, a real energetic field. So when you think, you're not just having private mental activity, you're sending out a signature, a vibration. And here's the part no one wants to hear. That signature determines what you experience, whether you're conscious of it or not. You can say affirmations all day long. You can journal your goals. You can do vision boards until your walls are covered. But if your core emotional frequency, your nervous system and subconscious beliefs are still tuned to fear, guilt, scarcity, or unworthiness, your field will broadcast that. And the universe will respond accordingly. Tesla would never have said, fake it till you make it. He would have said, tune yourself until you resonate with it. And when you think about it, this makes sense on every level. Ever met someone who just walks into a room and everything flows around them? People open doors for them. Opportunities magnetize. They seem effortless. That's not just charisma. That's energetic coherence. Now imagine the opposite. Someone brilliant, hardworking, filled with good intentions, but blocked. No matter what they do, things slip through their fingers. That's often not bad luck. It's inner static. It's a fragmented frequency. Tesla's life was dedicated to understanding how energy behaves when it's clean, harmonic, and aligned. Which brings us to his obsession with numbers. Tesla believed that the numbers 3, 6, and 9 were the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. He was fanatical about them, walking around buildings 3 times before entering, repeating actions in sets of 3, washing his hands precisely the same number of times each day. Some called it obsessive-compulsive. Others believed he was tapping into something far more mystical. He once said, "If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe." But what was he really pointing to? Let's pause here and consider a simple analogy. Think of reality like a symphony. Each instrument plays a role. Some sound loud and bold, others soft and subtle. But if they're out of tune with each other, the music becomes noise. It becomes chaos. But when they are in harmony, when every note plays in resonance, something magical happens. The air changes. Your body reacts. Emotions rise. You feel something that words can't describe. Tesla believed the universe operated the same way. That 3, 6, and 9 were the harmonic tones of reality. That they represented the structure of creation itself, just like the bass notes in a song. The building blocks of divine resonance. Vortex mathematics, a model discovered decades later, seems to confirm this. When you reduce numbers down through digital root math, adding digits until you reach a single number, patterns emerge. And at the center of those patterns, always 3, 6, and 9. These aren't just numerological curiosities. They're energetic signatures. 3 is creation. 6 is expansion. 9 is completion. Together they form a loop, the sacred spiral of energy that forms galaxies, DNA, and even your thoughts. So what happens when someone starts to unlock this spiral? Not just as an idea, but as a lived reality? Maybe, just maybe, they become a threat. Because if every human being realized they were a frequency generator, capable of aligning with love, wealth, healing, and truth, without permission, without systems, without institutions, then what happens to control? But not everyone wanted Tesla's discoveries made public. Not everyone welcomed the idea that power, literal and spiritual, could be decentralized, that it could belong to the individual. Because here's the thing about truth. Once people awaken to it, they can't be controlled the same way. And Tesla's ideas? They were far more than engineering blueprints. They were the foundation for energetic sovereignty, for internal power, for a world where reality could be shaped from within, not dictated from above. So what happened? Shortly after his death in 1943, The US government confiscated all of Tesla's personal notes, journals, and devices from his New York hotel room. Over 80 trunks of research vanished into government custody. Some of it has since been declassified. Most of it hasn't. And of what has been released, large portions are redacted, lost, or dismissed as irrelevant. But ask yourself, why seize the work of a man labeled eccentric and obsolete, if it was truly meaningless? Because behind the public persona of an inventor obsessed with wireless power was a man who spoke openly about energy fields, divine intelligence, and the vibrational nature of thought. Tesla believed that not only was energy free, it was universal. That it could be tapped, tuned, and transmitted, not just as electricity but as intention. And if that were true, the entire foundation of human systems would crumble. Think about it. What fuels economies? Scarcity. What fuels politics? Control. What drives marketing? Manipulated desire. But what happens if the human being no longer sees themselves as incomplete? What happens if people begin to create from the inside out, tuned not to survival but to abundance? It changes everything. And maybe that's why the most radical parts of Tesla's philosophy were left out of the textbooks. Not because they were false, but because they were too true. Now let's bring it back to you. Because the point of this video isn't just to revere Tesla, it's to remember what he tried to tell us. That you are not a victim of your reality. You're a conductor, a transmitter, a tuner of frequencies. And if your current life isn't reflecting what you truly desire, maybe it's not because you're lazy, or unworthy, or broken. Maybe it's because your signal has been hijacked by fear, by conditioning, by ancestral patterns passed down like family heirlooms no one ever wanted. Tesla knew this too. He once said, "Instinct is something which transcends knowledge." He wasn't just building machines, he was studying the intuition behind them. The unseen forces that make ideas flow, inspiration rise, healing happen, and coincidences align. What if you treated your life the same way? What if every block wasn't a punishment, but a signal, an opportunity to fine-tune your field? Maybe that persistent fear around money isn't yours. Maybe it's inherited. Maybe your grandmother lived through famine. Maybe your father lost everything. And maybe your nervous system is still trying to protect you by staying small, staying safe, staying unseen. But energy doesn't lie. Your body holds the signature. And until that frequency is brought into the light, until it's met with awareness and rewired with love, it keeps broadcasting the past into the present. That's why manifestation isn't just mindset, it's energy work. It's trauma healing. It's ancestral clearing. It's remembering every single day that your field is alive, and it's listening to everything you think, feel, and believe. Tesla knew this long before trauma became a buzzword. Long before the subconscious mind became a podcast topic. He didn't need the terminology. He could feel the field. He lived in coherence with it. That's why he could walk for hours in total silence and return with entire machines designed in his mind. That's why he refused to dilute his vision for the sake of fame or profit. That's why he died broke but never broken. Because he knew something we're only now beginning to remember. When you tune your field, reality tunes with you. So what does all of this mean for your life? It means you were never meant to hustle your way into worthiness. You were never meant to force or beg the universe to give you what already exists as potential in the field. The only thing you were ever meant to do was tune. To clear the static. To release what was never yours. To regulate your inner world so that your outer world becomes a reflection, not a battlefield. Tesla proved that invention doesn't start on the workbench. It starts in the field of mind, emotion, and frequency. And that same principle applies to your relationships, your finances, your health, your sense of purpose. The question is not, how do I get it? The real question is, who do I become to receive it? Because energy doesn't respond to wanting. It responds to embodiment. Tesla didn't wish for inventions. He tuned his internal state until the design arrived fully formed. That's not magic. That's deep alignment. That's trust in the unseen field of intelligence that surrounds us all. And you have access to it, right now, even in this moment. You don't need to be a scientist, or a mystic, or perfect. You just need to become quiet enough to feel your own signal. So pause. Take a breath. Tune in. What are you radiating today? Are you moving through life with a frequency of fear, urgency, tightness in your chest, rehearsing worst-case scenarios in your mind? Or are you walking like someone who knows they are already enough? Someone who trusts that the field is listening, not to their words but to their energy? You can't fake a frequency, but you can shift one. Start with simple daily tuning. Ground yourself in stillness before action. Practice gratitude as a vibrational exercise, not a mental checklist. Speak to your body like it's an instrument, because it is. Clear inherited beliefs that say abundance is only for the lucky. Ask yourself, if I were already aligned with what I desire, how would I move? How would I speak? What would I stop chasing? And then, start embodying that version of you. Because manifestation doesn't happen when the outer world changes. It happens when the inner field becomes coherent. And here's something no one talks about enough. You don't need to feel high vibe all the time. You just need to feel your truth and allow energy to move. Tesla had his dark nights. He experienced loss, betrayal, abandonment. He died alone, but he never stopped trusting the field. He never let the external chaos override his internal tuning. That's real alignment. It's not about perfection. It's about remembering, again and again, even when you fall out of tune, even when you forget. Because every time you return to coherence, the field responds. So maybe today you stop trying to fix everything out there, and you go in here, into your body, into your breath, into the subtle vibration behind your thoughts. You don't have to force manifestation. You have to become the version of yourself that life can flow to without resistance. That's what Tesla knew. That's what they tried to erase. Not because it was dangerous in the traditional sense, but because it awakened too much power in too many people. Because once you realize you are a tuning fork for reality, the rules change. Scarcity collapses. Control mechanisms lose their grip. And you begin to live not as a victim of your circumstances, but as a steward of your field. So maybe it's time you reclaim that. Your vibration is not random. It's responsive. It's intelligent. And it's capable of rewriting the story you've inherited from generations before you. But first, you have to choose to tune in. If this message stirred something inside you, if it reminded you of what you already knew deep down, then let that be your first act of alignment. Comment 777 below and share what you're letting go of, what you're now ready to embody. Let your words carry a new vibration into the field. And if you want more content like this, where ancient truth meets grounded energy and manifestation becomes a lived frequency instead of a concept, subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone else who's ready to wake up. Because the more of us who tune in together, the more the field shifts for all of us. You're not just manifesting for you. You're broadcasting a new possibility for the collective. Let's raise the frequency, starting now.